You're listening to the Beer Craft Beer and Brewing Podcast. Tune in every Wednesday night at 6:30 Pacific for a dose of beer and brewing banter with your hosts, Ben Holm and Andrew Ziegler.
So hop aboard for some wit and wisdom in the Pacific Northwest, because it's always beer 30 on
The Beer Craft. Welcome back to the Beer Craft, where brewing knowledge flows as freely as a well-poured pint.
And sometimes as slow as a nitro pour.
Today, we stand at the crossroads where smooth matters, fizz takes a backseat, and history meets hardware.
We'll talk about cask ales, real ale, beer engines, and running on nitro.
This is starting to sound like a car show. We're going to break down the essentials for setting up your own nitro draft system.
Well, but before we get to that, we need to pour ourselves a cold one here, Ben. One for me and one for you, and this is going to be the most important part of the show today.
That's right. It's time for Beer 30. Welcome back, everybody. How the hell, Ben. Andrew, how the hell are you?
I'm doing really good today.
Let's see. We got some glassware here in front of us. We got some beer in front of us.
I think
this is.
Bring?
Well, I brought. Since we're talking about Nitro Beer, I thought I'd talk about the. Bring a little Guinness.
Here, I'm supposed to do that. Remember?
Well, this one I don't think I can fuck up, because we're gonna do this the right way, and that is.
Oh, there you go.
Impossible for me to. Well, I can't say impossible because Murphy's listening, but it's harder for me to screw this one up as we invert the can completely into the pint glass.
There you go. Did the second one.
And we just start filling
up the cask, filling up the glass with like that.
Yep.
Don't let it touch the aluminum. Who knows where that stuff's been? Where my top of my cans been.
And we're gonna let that sit for 1 whole minute. 19 sec. 1 minute 19. 1 minute 16. Somewhere in there. As we enjoy
that's a perfect.
The cascade.
Careful on the desk.
Oh yeah. Don't dribble. Don't disturb the nitro.
This is beautiful.
Isn't it?
So what we're drinking is the draft stout.
The draft stout. Yeah.
Draft.
Yeah, that is the English way.
D-R-A-U-G-H-T.
That is how the English do it. And it's draft. It's just spelled different. These
draft.
Do have the
little nitro.
The
bottle,
little widget.
The little widget.
Yeah. I tore one of those
cool.
open. I want to see what it looked like. It's about the size of a golf ball.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
I was able to crack it open in half. There's not much to it. I don't know how that.
There's nothing in it.
Well, it had gas in it.
Yeah. Charge of nitrogen in there.
Yeah. Look at how pretty that is. A little black milk to start our day.
Like Guinness all the time, 4.1. So we're gonna have to.
And this is
this
is a bigger one. This is for clearly American audiences at 4.1.
Yeah.
Because it's less than that in Ireland, for sure.
3.9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can drink a lot of it.
Sure can.
Drink it all
and
day.
You should, yeah. And I think how you pour it matters. If you were to pour this like a normal beer, I think
you wouldn't have the head.
It would taste terrible.
So we got the 16 ouncer. We put it in a pint glass.
And it's perfect.
Upside down.
And it is
now
perfect.
It has a half-inch head on it.
Yeah.
Thick, rich cream.
These aren't Guinness glasses, so we can't split the G today. That's pretty far from sucking. That's good.
Delicious.
I love that. I do like that. I used to hate them. I think the first couple ones, I think I poured them wrong, and they all tasted like ashtrays.
Yeah?
Yeah, like licking an ashtray, or like somebody had put their cigarette butt out in your beer.
Wow. Because you didn't have the creaminess.
Yeah, kind of wrecked it.
So how did you pour it? You just poured it?
I poured it like a beer. I didn't fucking know. I was 20-something. There weren't cool podcasts about beer and brewing that I could just listen to. In my youth, you lucky sons of bitches, you.
Yep. Well, I remember YouTube.
Yep. The early days of YouTube.
I remember when YouTube started, and I used to go searching for stuff, and nothing's there. You're like, man, there's one video this obscure guy made. It looks like he made it three years ago.
Right. It looked old.
Then.
For then, yeah. Come a long way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, has it? You can search anything now.
Yeah, my inspirations for this show were some of those, the early days of YouTube. Watching hours and hours of brewing TV put out by Northern Brewer. Michael Dawson and Jake Keeler and Chip Walton. Those guys, I watched everything they put out. I think I was a theoretical brewer for 2.5, 3 years before I ever brewed a batch.
Wow.
Yeah, and that bugged the shit out of everybody because I talk a lot. And thankfully, now the only difference now is I record it.
Right.
I still talk a lot about beer. Yeah.
But you do beer now.
I do. At least get to do beer now, too.
What held you from doing it way back then?
I think I was designing the perfect system in my head, and I was going to have, all my ducks in a row before I made a batch. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to put the brewery over here, and I'm going to put the kegerator over here. In fact, I ended up with a kegerator before I started brewing. And so I really didn't have.
Went all in.
I didn't have great excuse. Well,
it took you a long time to go all in, but
we got married, and I wanted to take the kegs home, so I knew we needed CO2 for that because your hand pump is just going to oxidize your beer, and that doesn't taste great when it's crappy beer.
Yep.
Not that I was drinking crappy beer at my wedding.
Right, but you can't drink.
I couldn't take it home with me.
Yeah. In a couple days.
Even good beer turn. Yeah.
I mean, it'll turn beer. It'll turn bad in a day and a half.
Oxidizing. Yeah. Which it's kind of interesting. Our topic today, we're going to talk about cask ales, and oxidizing along the way is part of the show. So there's a case to be made for those, but I know certain beers that don't taste great with cardboard. Certain beers under oxygen will just go south quickly.
Bad. I think different hops are susceptible to
it. I don't think it's every beer style is going to lend itself to a cask finish, but certainly your English bitters, milds, pales, and even IPAs can go a long way with a cask finish.
Mild. Oh gosh.
I know it's me. I better drink some more beer here.
I better drink more Guinness.
So I got some interesting news on the podcast front. I was doing a little research into what are kind of those success factors where we should be paying attention to, and I saw one. It's like if you can get 28 downloads in the first week of a new episode, you're doing better than 50% of all podcasts. You're in the top 50%.
Really?
Yeah. And we're doing like 40, almost 50.
Wow.
So that's pretty good. So we're doing better than half of the podcasts
amazing.
out there.
Heck yeah, woo.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to that one.
It was an interesting couple of statistics.
That's good news.
Next one I saw was to be in the top 75, the top 25% of all podcasts is 126 downloads in the first week for a new episode.
Getting there, right?
We're getting there.
Getting there. Cool. Thanks to everybody out there.
The top 1% of podcasts do just under 5,000 in their first week alone.
Wow.
That's Joe Rogan-y kind of guys. That'd be cool if we got there.
Joe Rogan only gets 5,000?
Well, I don't know what he's getting, but he's in the 1% camp.
He's got to be getting millions.
Yeah, I don't know what he does in a week.
He does a podcast every day, I think.
Is it every? I don't know. I don't even. Yeah, I'm not a
beast.
I'm not into it.
He's a beast.
Yeah. Well, what else is he gonna do? He doesn't have a day job. That is his job.
Train all day.
Yeah.
Train all day, podcast all night. That's what he says.
That keeps him out of trouble.
Yeah.
Good for him though.
Hell yeah. I like his podcast. I like to listen to his stuff. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit out there for me. It depends on the guest.
Yeah.
Because he gets all kinds of guests.
Gotten a bunch of people
talking about different things, this and that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes he gets some pretty intellectual people on there that I'm just like, oh God. I'll just use it to go to sleep.
Well, see, that's my kind of guest, man. I know. I know he's got Neil deGrasse Tyson on there a number of times.
Oh yeah. Well, he's always interesting.
Yeah. You guy's never boring.
Yeah. I'm talking I don't know. I don't even know. There was a recent one.
Oh, I think there was a guest during the fire season, trying to explain the whole water situation in California or something like that. Not wasn't a thrilling topic for me. I was not in the fire zone, so my heart goes out to those who are. What a bummer that is.
There's another fire.
I'm gonna drink some more beer.
In New Jersey.
Yeah,
it's harsh.
Yeah, the fire season doesn't actually stop anymore. It just rolls into the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all gonna burn.
Yeah, my daughter's got her red card. She wants to go back out there, and she was going to do wildland fire. I'm like, man,
that's hard work.
Don't die.
I know.
Yeah, like send your kid into a fire zone. I'm like, oh man,
that's hard work.
Yeah. Oh God, it is. Yeah. Lots and lots of digging and slashing and clearing shit out the way. Yeah.
Labor. Intense.
Yeah. In the heat.
You gotta stop that fire though. Shit, man. Sometimes you can get surrounded by the fire.
Oh yeah.
And then you die.
That's bad. It's a bad day.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a dad, sending my daughter out there, I would be having a hard time.
Yeah, I don't have a feel about that.
Daughter, if you're listening,
yeah,
you know Daddy loves you.
That's right. I support you. Oh my God. I support you. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Again, interesting statistics in podcast land. So we're killing it. We're doing fine. We're doing awesome. I love it.
Good news.
Happy to do it. And thank you all out there in our listener land. Thank you all. I do have a special shout out today to John. John, regular listener to the show, heard me say I hadn't had the Octopus Ink for a while. One of the kits we sell at the shop. That I hadn't drank it for a while. So he came in, he brewed it, and he brought it back. So thank you, John. I'll send you pictures. I know Andrew and I drank that last Saturday, as a matter of fact. So thank you, brother. It was great. That growler is now empty. I've got it at the shop for you. Thanks for making Saturday a very hydrating experience for us. That was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. Good beer.
We drank that whole thing too.
It's all gone.
John,
he came into the shop and we opened it up. Just happened to be a couple other patrons in the store, so everybody got a little taster.
Right on.
It was pretty cool.
Did you have another one?
No, because you bought that growler. Yeah.
One,
So
okay.
when I brought it to you, it was halfway. We were halfway into it by the time I got to play with it.
No wonder there wasn't that much.
Yeah, I got started before you. Sorry, man.
Definitely missing it when I was gone.
Yeah, it was good.
I wanted more.
Very classic black IPA recipe. Very like the Centennial and Cascade hops, and it's like, that's perfect. Hops for days.
The first thing I did was take a drink and close my eyes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is an IPA. It's IPA, but it's black.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It is very cool.
Well, I think that's a. How are we doing on time there?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about some nitrogen. So.
We sure are.
Yeah, I was doing some show prep.
Did some homework? Yeah. Oh, there's an airplane or something going overhead.
Yeah. Hold on.
In the headphones.
That's a helicopter going.
Oh, my ride's here.
Oh. You hear that?
Oh, we don't have the foam up over here.
No.
Yeah.
You'd still hear it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's like rattling.
It's like reverberating the whole house.
Should we put the foam up? Or?
Nah. That's all cool.
It's all good.
So I was starting to say was I did some. We were doing some show prep, and we're going to talk about nitrogen. And I was looking at your notes, and I noticed it was something that was called N2. Which you have to specify.
Right.
When it's nitrogen is nitrogen. It's N on the
right.
periodic table.
Stuff we're after.
The stuff we're after is N2, which is nitrogen at a standard temperature and pressure. Two of these atoms of the element will bond to form a colorless and an odorless gas.
Okay.
It's a diatomic gas.
Diatomic gas.
Diatomic gas.
Did you Google that one?
Yeah, diatomic gas means it's only two molecules.
Okay.
Two molecules together. A diatomic gas could be two molecules of the same or two molecules of different elements.
So these temperatures, they're fused.
Yep.
They're bonded there.
Yep.
Yeah. And
so
this is the same
gas,
stuff in the atmosphere.
That's what's in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the single. The single one has got to be in the atmosphere. I mean, it's like the seventh most abundant element.
Oh, sure.
We have.
Yeah.
In the Milky Way.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere.
This side of everywhere.
Yeah. So drink it up, people.
Yeah. Well,
use it in your Guinness.
I'm enjoying this Nitro Guinness.
Yeah, that was a little curious little nerd out.
Yeah. We are not chemists. We do not pretend to be chemists. We don't even look like chemists.
Well, we talk about barley. We talk about growing barley, and then we talk about
biology.
Putting nitrogen on barley to make it grow. We're
a primary
nitrogen.
We all need nitrogen
in the finished product of that barley to make beer.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's two different.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to the N2 tag on that either.
Yep.
Because you just talk about nitrogen. We're gonna use nitrogen.
I just thought you nerded out on it too and got it right.
It was a happy little accident for me. No, I mean cutting and pasting my research in and putting in it.
No, I thought that was a cool thing. So,
yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up Beer 30 though. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna pour another pint. Get a little love from our sponsors.
Grab a creamy pour too.
Oh yeah.
Tighten that gas connection.
Now let's get smooth. Let's do it.
In the craft beer system, the people are served by two but equally important groups: the brewers who make the beer and the bartenders who serve the pints. These are their stories, presented by Northwest Brewers Supply. You're handed a dusty bottle by a brewer with a tale as unique as the brew it holds. You never knew the challenges one man could face packaging his creation on a tailgate of a well-used Mazda pickup. Then you realize what awaits you at the bottom of the bottle is the essence of a man's journey. All started at Northwest Brewers Supply.
This beer is incredible. Smooth, creamy. What gives it that texture?
That be the nitro pour, friend. A little gas witchcraft behind the bar.
Is that what makes it cascade like that?
Aye, that's the show. Nitrogen, high pressures, and that restrictor plate in the faucet does the rest.
Restrictor plate? They use them down at the auto shop in Tennessee. What? I heard some bloke in here earlier saying it ruins a beer.
Aye, well, there's a row about that most every week. Some say it's the only way to serve it. Others say it flattens the flavor.
Well, what's your professional opinion?
Well, for those who like it, I won't use it. But for those who hate it, I'll use it every time.
And here I thought American beer drama was complicated.
Oh, it is. Ours just comes with foam and fighting songs.
Fighting songs? Sounds good.
So this story we gotta start in the cellar. Literally, cask ale is what we're talking. We can't talk about nitro beer without talking about cask ale. And cask was a traditional way to serve beer. And in places like Machine House Brewing in Seattle, that tradition is being kept alive.
Sounds cool. Cask ale, also called real ale, is beer that's still alive. There's active yeast in the container and is still fermenting ever so slightly while it sits in the pub cellar. Your own bottle conditioned homebrew could be considered a real ale.
This is real ale definition. This is where CAMRA comes into play. CAMRA is the campaign for real ale in the UK. It started in 1971, and basically CAMRA was pushing back against mass market American retail beer in favor of classic English brewing traditions, particularly cask ale. Served directly from the cask on the bar top or through a beer engine. It's a definitely different animal. They pushed back. They said no thanks to American beer, and we'd like our flavors back. So that traditional beer is served alive right in the vessel. Most often that is going to be a cask. It looks like a mini keg.
Yeah, they've been advocating for beer ever since. For real ales and ciders, pubs as community centers, and the art of sociable drinking. Their fight preserves beers that mature and evolve right up to the moment they hit your glass.
So what makes a cask ale special?
First, it is served without added gas, so there's no CO2 tanks, just a little gravity, or a good old-fashioned hand pump.
The beer is kept at cellar temperature, usually around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a little warmer than your standard draft beer, but that temperature lets flavor shine and natural carbonation develop.
So the results are a smoother mouthfeel, complex aromas, and a texture closer to bread and malt than fizzy yellow water.
Plus, cask ales are low in carbonation. We're talking 0.9 to 1.2 volumes of CO2 compared to the usual 2.5 or plus, and you'll find which you find in most of your draft beer systems.
So that carbonation isn't injected. It's generated inside the cask by the yeast. They're going to add sugar, just like your bottle conditioned beers. They add a little bit of sugar or unfermented wort right in the cask or the keg. Looks like a keg. And basically it's a keg condition, just like your bottles.
Nice. And when you tap a cask, you insert the two parts of it. The spile is at the top for allowing air in, and the spigot is at the bottom for dispensing the beer. The spile is a wooden cone driven through the bung at the top of the cask. So soft spiles allow for gas exchange, and hard spiles will not.
That's true. You know what they call that bung
spills?
at the top?
No.
The bung at the top? That's the shive bung.
The
It's
shive
terrible.
bung.
It's a shive bung. Drive your spile through the shive bung, and then drive your spigot through the
spout.
keyhole.
Yeah.
Which is a totally,
I like that.
It's another bung.
It's another
Cover your
type of
bunghole.
Bunghole.
That's
Keyhole.
that's where you get bunghole from.
Man,
That's literally where you put it.
We've got to
In
make
your bunghole.
We've got to make this vocabulary. Vocabulary
Shive-
show.
You drive your spile through your shive bunghole. It's a thing. It's
Shive
true.
bung.
We're not just making jokes here. Yep. Most of these casks, you're also going to have stillage. Basically it's a rack to hold your keg. That's lets it rest on that frame at an angle, so all the yeast kind of collects in the bottom.
Sediment.
So the beer runs clear. If you rush that part, you're going to be pouring a hazy mess with a yeasty kick. Like shaking up. Just like every homebrew you poured not so gently. You're kicking that yeast back into suspension, and
And
it's
you
going to
can
be
taste
murky. Yeah.
Pouring
Little extra
options. Little extra vitamins. The pouring options, you've got two. You can gravity dispense directly from the cask. Excuse me, or you can use a beer engine. And the beer engine's a hand-powered pump that pulls the beer to the bar. Think of it as like a vintage turntable of beer pouring. It's actually a valve that's pulling without using gas.
Yeah. Beer engine often has a little sparkler fitted at the end of the faucet. It's a tiny perforated disc. It's usually got a couple holes, like 5 holes of it. It's a restrictor plate or sparkler head.
You can hear it too.
Yeah, and it is kind of controversial. There's some people who love it, some people who hate it, and never the two are gonna, they're never gonna agree on that.
Well, like me, I like a carbonated beverage. So when it's a cask, if they're taking out all of the carbonation from that cask,
I think
that could be like.
So they vent a cask before they serve it and lets the excess pressure, and I think a lot of it goes out that way. There's enough to gravity will still pour in, but they're adding that soft spile that's in air, so as they're pouring it, it's not drawing a vacuum inside.
If it's a fresh cask, then it could still be doing the that slight carbonation.
It could still be working on it. Yeah.
Yep. Instead of like dissipating all that.
But 1.2, I like those cask, finishes, those mildly carbonated.
Oh yeah.
They're pretty tasty. Well, I drink more beer.
It's controversial, but some brewers love it. Some people do, some people don't. Speaking of that foam, the ideal head on a cask ale is about 1 inch. Maybe that's why they put that thing on there, because at the cask, sitting on the
at 1.2
bar, it's just not enough. So it's just not for looks. It's that flavor release for the nose. Your beer sensory.
Cleanliness is going to be key with your cask. Your beer engines need daily flushing. Faucets got to be sanitized. The cask pump scrub nightly. And oh god, if you have one of these and you're fortunate enough to have one, don't let the tip of your nozzle touch your beer or your beer glass. That's a good way to funk it up later.
Yep. Just like I didn't want my top touching this beer.
Exactly.
That's right. Don't let the top of the beer touch the faucet. I've seen some bars do that.
Yeah.
And some bars do use CO2 as at atmospheric pressure, called cask breather. And to replace the beer, the volume as it's dispensed, it helps preserve the flavor. If you're pouring over several days, for years, CAMRA fought to use these cask breathers.
Yeah, they did. They wanted it to just be that cask ale. Like, it's going to oxidize over 4 days. If you don't sell it all, you're not going to be able to. I'm glad they relented on the cask breather. It's not enough to pump the beer out. It's just letting in an atmospheric pressure of CO2 to balance the pour, but it's not going to oxidize your beer. If you're not, as a home brewer, you're not going to drink 5 gallons over 4 days.
No.
You'd have a lot of help to do that. It would be unsafe. I think those cask breathers, allow you to have kind of that finish at home.
I could do it under 5 days. 5-gallon cask.
Yeah, gallon a day. That's we've done that. Yeah. But you may not want to do that every single time you're trying to do a cask. So I'm glad to hear that they changed their view on that. I mean, the goal is clean, fresh, flavorful beer. We want to handle it right. We want to do all those things.
If you want to serve this cask ale right, you've got to be a little bit of a cellar master, a little bit of an artist, and a whole lot of obsessive about sanitation.
Yeah, traditionally the beer would be, given they'd fill the cask with a fresh head of sugar and they'd ship it to the bar. They'd ship it to the retail location where it'd have to finish its work. So the job of the cellarman at the bar was to manage all that beer, make sure it's all finished on time and ready to serve. Clean, all the equipment needs to be maintained by the cellarman.
Yep.
And that was a pretty good job. It was a high responsibility
They're
position.
stewarding the living, the tradition of it,
Yeah.
of how it's going to get to your glass. If it's still a living thing while they're taking care of it.
Right. They got to treat it right.
Cellarman definitely has to treat it right.
And I know if you're thinking this sounds like a lot of extra work, it's no more than what we're already doing on the average brew day. When that first pint of beer slides across your bar with a gentle head, a malt aroma, it could just melt a stout's heart. I think you'll agree it was worth the work.
You're not just pouring a beer; you're stewarding a living tradition.
So maybe you love cask ale, but you don't own a pub, a cellar, or you don't have a beer engine. I'd say fear not, because Nitro Beer is here. Nitro is here to bring that smoothness to the masses.
Well, they were born in the 1960s. Thanks to some clever engineering by Guinness, the goal was to recreate that smooth, creamy cask ale experience. But they needed the longer shelf life and a more modern system to do this.
Yeah, I heard they would have what were called like low casks and high casks. So if a cask had been sitting out for say 4 days, that was the low cask, and maybe the carbonation profile's not there. It's going around the bend. So they would blend it with
a new one,
and one of the newer casks to get everything just right. And that whole process took like a minute and a minute 20 seconds. And that's where like this is how long it takes to pour a Guinness, this 1 minute show. Nowadays they have this 1 minute show just to let you watch the bubbles. Don't drink that for a minute. It's kind of a throwback to what they were doing. But Nitro was invented because it was complicated. It took a minute to serve a pint of beer. How could we do this? Some mathematician worked with them.
Well, why do they use it? Because it doesn't dissolve into the beer. Yeah, well, I mean, it does a tiny bit, but not as readily as the CO2 does. So that means smaller bubbles, creamier. That's where the creamy texture comes from, and the stunning cascading effect.
Oh,
It looks like little tiny thunderstorms in your glass.
So those bubbles aren't just for show, though. Nitro beers have that kind of signature velvet mouthfeel. There's less bite. Carbonic acid, with lower CO2, and have the carbonic acid bite. It's just a silky kind of smooth finish, like a beer with a foam pillow on it.
Oh, that sounds good. I love to sleep on beers. Nitro beers are usually carbonated at a lower level than the standard draft beers, somewhere around 1.1 to 1.7 volumes of the CO2. Like I said before, compared to the 2.5 volumes or plus in your average lager, and you can see why that feels so different. I mean, yeah, a nice crisp lager to a drat gen.
So those nitro beers, you're going to need a little bit of special equipment. Those nitro faucets, so you have that special faucet with that restrictor plate or that sparkler tip. Little device forces the beer through tiny little holes and agitating it, driving out CO2 and giving us that signature cascade.
Ooh, a classic pour. It's a 2-stage process. First, tilt the glass and pour about 3/4 full, then let it settle. The cascade will slowly form a thick, creamy head. After that, top it off to finish the pour.
Some call it the wait for it pour. Others just stare into the glass like they're seeing God. It's pretty. Both valid points. You're going to want to pour your nitro at home.
I was just thinking they were looking at my beer that way.
So if you want to pour nitro at home, stick around. After the break, we are going to be breaking down how to build your own nitro system at home.
That'd be awesome.
Attention! Vacation's over, and from now on, you will brew when you please, and the first and last words out of your little brewer's mouth will be, I need a beer. Capiche?
Sir, yes, sir!
If you ladies leave my store, if you survive my special brewers unit training, you will be a home brewer. You will be a minister of beer, ever praying for more beer. Do I make myself clear?
Sir, yes, sir!
Learn to brew with Northwest Brewer Supply. Classes are available today at nwbrewers.com.
All right, welcome back to the Beer Craft. So we have heard the history, we have tasted the smooth, now it's time to build our own. Welcome to the DIY Nitro System Breakdown.
Yes, and first things first, you need to understand what makes a nitro system different from a standard draft setup. It's not just gas, it's pressure, hardware, and precision.
So step one, let's talk about the gas. You're going to need a mix of CO2 and nitrogen. For nitro beers, and I stress this is for nitro beers, those low carbonated beers, we're going to use a 25-75 or 30-70 CO2 to nitrogen blend. That's for the purpose of this conversation, it's always CO2 to nitrogen when we talk about these gas blends. So if you see 25-75 or 30-70, it's 25-75 is 25% CO2, 75% nitrogen.
Got it. And where the heck can I buy these at? I can go to my local gas. I have to buy premix cylinders, and they're often called a G-Mix or a Guinness gas, and they are refined for the homebrew setups.
Yeah, it's the same bottle for pure CO2 used for those mix of gases, so you don't need an extra regulator.
Do I need an extra one for nitrogen?
If you're going to like dedicate a setup, you might, if you wanted one full time, you might set up a dedicated setup for that. But it's the same kind of regulator. So if you're doing a
right,
one-off
there's a different regulator for the oxygen.
For oxygen is a different one. Pure nitrogen has a different regulator. I think it might be the same one as the oxygen. Different hardware, different fitting on it. But a blended gas uses the same style bottle and regulator, which is nice. You don't have to buy extra gear just for a one-off nitro.
I'm just going down to my local gas shop, my welding gas.
Yep, Central Welding carries a couple of different ones.
Okay.
Yep.
And next up, the faucet. And this is where the magic happens. Standard beer faucet won't do. You need that nitro faucet with the restrictor disc.
Yeah, a little restrictor. We're going to force the beer through those tiny little holes, causing that micro bubble formation, giving us that creamy cascading effect.
If you see a smooth, velvety pour with a dense, tight head, you're looking at a proper nitro faucet in action.
Installation is going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to mount the faucet to your tower or through your fridge door. You're going to connect your beer line from the keg and the gas line from your nitro blend tank.
Yeah, so it's important to keep your line short, especially for your beer. Nitro beer needs to be moved quickly through the line to maintain its character.
So yeah, we did a little math on that, and 5 feet of beer line, that's what a lot of us are working with on a short draw system. So we've done the math kind of based on that. Temperature is going to matter on this beer. Serve your nitros, 38 to 42. If you can go warmer on that, if you like those cask kind of, 55 degrees cellar temp is there are certain beers that freaking really shine at that temperature. Coors Light, not one of them.
Not.
Oddly enough, if you drink warm Coors Light, you won't want to drink another Coors Light.
Oh yeah, that's not true.
I mean, if you're not paying for them. So that temperature, colder temperatures are going to mask flavors. So that's where cellar temps for nitro gives us some of that classic English pub vibe.
Right.
Once you're set up, your balances everything with that 5 feet of beer line, we're going to have that nitro pushing at 17 psi. You can tweak that based on your performance and foam character you're after, but that's a good place to start things off at.
Yep, and remember maintenance time. Clean your lines weekly, sanitize your faucets nightly, and never ever neglect your restrictor disc. Gunk buildup kills foam quality. You want to get really fancy, experiment with non-stout styles, cream ales, porters, even porter beers can shine through.
Well, I remember your ox. You did a coffee ox version
That'd be good.
Dude, that on nitro would be like ridiculously tasty. I would drink the shit out of that.
Well,
I'll go buy a cask for that.
we should try.
Yeah. If you're going to be kegging your own home brew, you're going to carbonate your beer on your CO2 to under 1.5 to 2 volumes of CO2. If you do any more carbonation than that and you start pushing with nitro, your beer is going to go flat once you switch it to nitro. About halfway through the keg, you're going to have really flat beer because there's at 25-75 blends, there is not enough CO2 to maintain carbonation pressure above like 2 volumes. So it's just gonna go flat. It has to, right? The concentration of CO2 is not there.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yep. So just remember, nitro beers need time to condition at the pressure. Let them sit for 24, 48 hours before serving for your best results.
So there you go. Nitro system blueprint from cylinder to faucet. You got everything you need to pour a glass that looks like a commercial. You're gonna if you guys do that, let me know. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be putting one at the shop. I've been talking about this shit enough. I need to do that.
You can impress your friends pretty easily. Every time I've gone to my buddy's little bar, and he or she had a nitro tap. Oh, that's something special.
Mm-hmm.
Always something special.
Yeah. Saving up for a beer engine and a cask.
My gosh.
I want it all, man. I want it all. So next time your friends are out and they ask, why does your beer look like a cloud in a glass? You just nod and say, you can just say, it's science, baby. Science. So what did we learn today?
I don't know.
Besides the fact that beer lovers will
Learned a
argue
lot.
over foam thickness for decades.
It's a beer show.
Yeah, it's a beer show. What else have we
We
covered?
drink and learn. Oh, I was drinking good too. Cask ales are living beers. It's a tradition honed in pub cellars, driven by passion, yeast, and the occasional stubborn Brit.
Yeah. Do they still have cask night? I know Washington Beer, Waha used to do a cask night down in Seattle.
We used to do it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if they're doing that anymore. I hope so. I really like that event.
I love cask beers.
That event got a lot of people wasted too. That was good. So we also learned that
a designated driver. You bring your friend.
you need one.
You're
Yeah.
great.
We learned CAMRA took up arms or pints to protect that sacred brewing tradition in the UK. I'm happy that they're trying to preserve beers that continue. Man, there's something about those cask beers, the way they change over the course. If you're fortunate enough to go on day 1 and day 3, you got two different beers,
two different casks.
for sure. Yeah.
Two slightly different flavors. Yep. And then we came into nitro, the technical cousin with that creamy pour and engineering in its DNA. Less fiddle, more foam.
These two camps, the cask and nitro, they're not enemies. They're just two paths to the same goal. Delicious, textured, character-driven beer.
Yep, and if you want to pour nitro at home, you know what to do now. From choosing the right gas blend to cutting your beer line just right.
So whether you're running a cask hand pump or nitrogen restrictor, same rules. Treat your beer with respect, and it's going to respect you right back.
Yep, respect you right back with a smooth cascade velvety head and a pour that makes you whisper, ooh, like you're watching upside down fireworks in a glass.
So go forth, ye seeker of smooth. Set up that system, pour that stout yourself that stout, or better yet, host a side-by-side tasting and see it for yourself.
So we'll be back next week again with more craft madness. So until then, keep your beer lines clean, please. Keep your PSI dialed in and your glasses cold.
And remember, if it cascades, congratulations, you've leveled up.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Let's do a friendlier cheers on that.
Oh, cheers, friend. Cheers.
Yeah.
On the beer.
Cheers, man.
So a bloke, he comes into the office yesterday telling me he's going to bring me cascading beers.
Cascading beers. I've had a pint before. What are you talking about?
Well, I thought he was talking about Cascade Alps, but no, he's talking about a Guinness. He thought he could do it himself. He went down to NSB. Oh, shit. Cut.
All right, that's good. That's good.